Hello, everyone, and welcome to Learn English with Podcast. My name is David Chen.
And I'm Sarah Mitchell. Thank you so much for joining us today for this special episode focused on office conversations and workplace English.
Today's episode is all about the kind of English you need in a professional office environment. We'll be having natural conversations that you might hear between colleagues at work every single day.
That's right, David. This episode is designed specifically for intermediate learners at the B1 or B2 level who want to improve their professional English skills and feel more confident in workplace situations.
We'll cover topics like greeting colleagues in the morning, discussing projects and deadlines, asking for help, giving feedback, planning meetings, talking about lunch breaks, and much more.
The vocabulary and expressions we use today are things you'll actually hear in real offices. We want to help you sound natural and professional when speaking English at work.
Don't worry if some phrases are new to you. We'll use them in context so you can understand the meaning, and you can always listen to this episode multiple times to practice.
Exactly. And remember, building professional English skills takes time and practice. Be patient with yourself and focus on learning a little bit each day.
So, Sarah, shall we start our day at the office? Let's imagine it's Monday morning and we're both arriving at work.
Perfect. Let's begin with those first morning interactions that happen every day.
Good morning, Sarah. How was your weekend?
Good morning, David. My weekend was lovely. Thank you for asking. I spent most of Saturday catching up on some reading, and on Sunday, I went hiking with some friends. The weather was perfect for it. How about you? Did you do anything interesting?
That sounds wonderful. I had a pretty relaxing weekend myself. I finally finished organizing my home office, which I'd been putting off for weeks. It feels good to have everything in order now.
I know that feeling. There's something so satisfying about getting organized. Speaking of which, are you ready for the week ahead? I saw we have quite a few meetings scheduled.
Yes, I noticed that too. It looks like a busy week. We have the team meeting this morning at 10, the client presentation on Wednesday, and the project review on Friday. Plus, all the regular daily tasks, of course.
The client presentation is the big one. Have you had a chance to review the materials we prepared last week?
I went through them on Friday afternoon before leaving the office. I think they look solid, but I want to run through the presentation one more time before Wednesday to make sure everything flows smoothly.
That's a good idea. Maybe we could schedule a practice session tomorrow afternoon. It would be helpful to rehearse together and time ourselves to make sure we're not going over the allocated 30 minutes.
Absolutely. That would be great. Shall we say tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the conference room?
Perfect. I'll put it in my calendar right now. Oh, before I forget, did you get the email from Rebecca about the new project management software we're implementing next month?
Yes, I saw that this morning. It looks like we'll need to attend a training session. Are you planning to sign up for one of the available dates?
I'm thinking about the session on the 15th. My schedule looks relatively clear that day. What about you?
The 15th works for me as well. We could go together and then discuss how to integrate it into our current workflow afterward.
Great minds think alike. I'll register us both for that session. Now, I should probably grab a coffee before our team meeting starts. Would you like me to bring you one?
That would be wonderful. Thank you. Just a regular coffee with a little milk, no sugar. Here, let me give you some money for it.
Don't worry about it. My treat today. You can get mine next time. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Thanks, Sarah. You're a lifesaver. I didn't have time to make coffee at home this morning because I overslept a bit. All right, everyone. Good morning. Thank you all for being here on time. Let's go ahead and get started with our weekly team meeting. As usual, we'll review what everyone accomplished last week and discuss priorities for the week ahead.
Before we dive into individual updates, I just want to mention that the quarterly report deadline has been moved up by 3 days. The new deadline is now the 28th instead of the 1st of next month.
Oh, that's important information. Thank you for letting everyone know, David. Does anyone foresee any issues with meeting the earlier deadline?
I think we should be fine as long as we stay on track with our current timeline. Most of the data collection is already complete, so it's mainly a matter of compiling everything and writing the summary sections.
Good to hear. Let's make sure we're all coordinating effectively to avoid any last-minute scrambling. Now, let's go around the table and hear from everyone. David, would you like to start with your update?
Sure. Last week, I completed the market analysis that we discussed in our previous meeting. The findings were quite interesting, and I think they'll be valuable for our client presentation on Wednesday. I've shared the document in our team folder for anyone who wants to review it.
Excellent work. Did you discover anything particularly surprising in your analysis?
Actually, yes. I found that our target demographic has shifted slightly younger than we initially anticipated. This might affect our marketing strategy moving forward, so I highlighted that section in the report.
That's definitely worth discussing in more detail. Let's plan to address that in our strategy session next week. For now, make sure that information is incorporated into the Wednesday presentation so the client is aware of these insights.
Already done. I updated the presentation slides on Friday afternoon. Speaking of the presentation, Sarah, have you finished the financial projections section?
I have. I completed those on Thursday and added them to the shared presentation file. I also created some additional charts to make the data more visually accessible. Financial information can be dry, so I wanted to make sure it's presented in an engaging way.
I saw those charts when I reviewed the materials. They look fantastic. The visual representation really helps clarify the numbers. I think the client will appreciate that.
Thank you. I spent quite a bit of time making sure the color scheme is consistent with our brand guidelines and that all the charts are easy to read. Attention to detail matters, especially with important clients.
Absolutely. Professional presentation can make a significant difference in how our work is perceived. Is there anything else we need to prepare before Wednesday?
I think we're in good shape content-wise. The main thing now is to practice our delivery so we feel confident and can handle any questions the client might ask.
Agreed. That's why we scheduled that practice session for tomorrow afternoon. It will help us identify any weak points in our presentation and give us time to address them.
Perfect. Now, moving on to other agenda items, I want to discuss the upcoming deadline for the Henderson account. Who's taking the lead on that project?
I believe Jennifer is the primary contact for Henderson, but I've been supporting her with the technical specifications. Jennifer, do you want to give everyone an update on where things stand?
Sarah, do you have a few minutes? I could really use your input on something I'm working on.
Of course. I'm just finishing up an email, but I can stop now. What do you need help with?
I'm putting together the budget proposal for the Thompson project, and I want to make sure my cost estimates are reasonable. You have more experience with this type of project, so I'd value your perspective.
I'd be happy to take a look. Do you want to go through it here, or should we book a conference room where we can spread everything out?
Let's grab conference room B if it's available. I have several spreadsheets and documents that would be easier to review on the big screen.
Good idea. Let me just send this email and grow my laptop. I'll meet you there in 2 minutes.
Perfect. See you there.
A few minutes later in the conference room. All right, I'm here. Let's see what you've got.
So here's the overall budget breakdown. I've divided it into categories: labor costs, materials, software licenses, and miscellaneous expenses. Does this structure make sense to you?
Yes, this looks like a logical organization. Let me dive into the details. Your labor costs are based on how many hours?
I estimated 400 hours of work total, spread across the 3-month project timeline. That includes time for planning, execution, testing, and revisions.
Based on similar projects I've worked on, I'd suggest adding a buffer of about 15 to 20%. Unexpected issues almost always come up, and it's
Sarah, do you have a few minutes? I could really use your input on something I'm working on.
Of course. I'm just finishing up an email, but I can stop now. What do you need help with?
I'm putting together the budget proposal for the Thompson project, and I want to make sure my cost estimates are reasonable. You have more experience with this type of project, so I'd value your perspective.
I'd be happy to take a look. Do you want to go through it here, or should we book a conference room where we can spread everything out?
Let's grab conference room B if it's available. I have several spreadsheets and documents that would be easier to review on the big screen.
Good idea. Let me just send this email and grab my laptop. I'll meet you there in 2 minutes.
Perfect. See you there. A few minutes later in the conference room.
All right, I'm here. Let's see what you've got.
So here's the overall budget breakdown. I've divided it into categories: labor costs, materials, software licenses, and miscellaneous expenses. Does this structure make sense to you?
Yes, this looks like a logical organization. Let me dive into the details. Your labor costs are based on how many hours of work?
I estimated 400 hours of work total, spread across the 3-month project timeline. That includes time for planning, execution, testing, and revisions.
Based on similar projects I've worked on, I'd suggest adding a buffer of about 15 to 20%. Unexpected issues almost always come up, and it's better to overestimate slightly than to underestimate and have to request additional funds later.
That's a really good point. I was trying to keep the budget competitive, but you're right that being realistic is more important. I'll adjust those numbers accordingly.
It's all about finding the right balance. You want to be competitive, but you also need to ensure you have adequate resources to deliver quality work. What about your materials costs? How did you calculate those?
I got quotes from 3 different vendors and used the middle range pricing. I figured that gives us a realistic estimate without being on either extreme.
Smart approach. Did you include shipping costs and any potential import fees, if applicable?
I included standard shipping, but I hadn't thought about import fees. The equipment is coming from overseas, so that's definitely something I need to factor in. Thank you for catching that.
No problem. That's what collaboration is for. These are the kinds of details that are easy to overlook when you're focused on the big picture. What about software licenses? Are these annual costs or one-time purchases?
Most of them are annual subscriptions. I've noted which ones need to be renewed annually versus which are perpetual licenses with the one-time purchase.
Good documentation. Make sure the client understands which costs are recurring so there are no surprises down the line. Clear communication about ongoing expenses is crucial for maintaining good client relationships.
Absolutely. I plan to create a summary document that clearly outlines one-time versus recurring costs. Transparency is always the best policy.
I completely agree. Now, looking at your miscellaneous expenses, what's included in that category?
Travel expenses for any necessary on-site visits, communication tools, and a contingency fund for unexpected costs. Is that comprehensive enough, or should I break it down further?
I think you should break it down more specifically. Clients usually want to see exactly where their money is going. Instead of lumping everything into miscellaneous, create subcategories for travel, tools, and contingency. It shows that you've thought through every aspect carefully.
That makes total sense. I'll restructure that section right away. This is exactly the kind of feedback I was hoping for.
Happy to help. Overall, I think you've done a thorough job with this proposal. With these few adjustments, it should be very strong.
I really appreciate you taking the time to review this with me. Your experience makes such a difference.
That's what teammates are for. We all have different strengths and experiences to share. Don't hesitate to ask for input whenever you need it.
Sarah, we might have a problem with the Riverside project. I just got off the phone with their project manager, and they want to move the delivery date up by 2 weeks. 2 weeks? That's a significant change. Did they explain why they need it earlier? Apparently, their board meeting schedule changed, and they want to present our work to the board at their next meeting. I understand their reasoning, but I'm not sure we can realistically meet that accelerated timeline without compromising quality. This is tricky. We obviously want to accommodate the client when possible, but we also have a responsibility to deliver quality work. Let's think through this carefully. What's our current timeline and what would we need to adjust? Currently, we're scheduled to deliver on the 15th of next month. They want it by the 1st instead. That means we lose 2 weeks of work time, including time we'd allocated for thorough testing and revisions. Can we bring in additional resources to help speed things up without cutting corners on quality? That's a possibility. Jennifer has some capacity in her schedule right now. If she could take over some of the documentation tasks, that would free me up to focus more on the core development work. That sounds like a reasonable approach. What about the testing phase? That's typically where we catch critical issues. If we compress that timeline too much, we risk delivering a product with problems. I was thinking we could implement continuous testing throughout the development process instead of saving it all for the end. It would require more discipline and organization, but it could work. That's actually a smart strategy that might improve our workflow even for future projects. Have you discussed this possibility with the team members who would be involved? Not yet. I wanted to get your thoughts first before presenting options to the client and the team. Okay, here's what I suggest. Let's schedule a quick meeting with everyone involved this afternoon. We'll present the situation, brainstorm solutions together, and see if the earlier deadline is feasible. If it's genuinely not possible without risking quality, we need to be honest with the client about that. I agree. Our reputation is built on delivering excellent work, and we shouldn't jeopardize that to meet an arbitrary deadline. Exactly. However, if the team collectively believes we can do it with the right adjustments and additional support, then we should try to accommodate the client's needs. They're an important client, and showing flexibility can strengthen our relationship. You're right. Let me send out a meeting invitation for 3 o'clock this afternoon. Does that work with your schedule? Let me check. Yes, I'm free then. Make sure to include a brief agenda in the invitation so everyone knows what to expect and can come prepared with ideas. Will do. I'll outline the situation, the challenge, and frame it as a problem-solving session where everyone's input is valuable. Perfect approach. Oh, and David, make sure to emphasize that no one should feel pressured to say yes if they genuinely don't think it's feasible. We need honest assessments, not wishful thinking. That's an important point. I'll make that clear at the beginning of the meeting. We need realistic evaluations, not wishful thinking. Good. Let's also prepare a backup plan in case the team determines the accelerated timeline isn't workable. Maybe we can offer the client a partial delivery by their deadline with the complete final version coming on our original timeline. That's a creative compromise. They could present the core elements to their board and then implement the additional features afterward. I like it. It's all about finding solutions that work for everyone. Sometimes you can't give clients exactly what they want, but you can often find alternatives that still meet their needs. This is why I value having you as a colleague. You're always so level-headed and solution-oriented when challenges come up. Well, we've both been doing this long enough to know that problems are inevitable. It's how we respond to them that matters. Now, let's both spend some time before the meeting thinking about what resources and adjustments might make this work. The more prepared we are, the more productive our discussion will be. David, are you planning to go out for lunch or are you eating at your desk today?
I brought lunch from home today, but I was thinking about eating in the break room instead of at my desk. I've been staring at my computer screen all morning, and I need a proper break. Want to join me?
I'd love to. I also brought lunch. I made a big salad last night, so I'm all set. Plus, eating at our desks isn't really a break, is it?
Exactly. I used to eat lunch at my desk every day, but I realized I was burning out. Taking a real break where you step away from work makes such a difference in afternoon productivity.
I completely agree. It's so easy to fall into the trap of working through lunch, especially when you're busy, but mental breaks are important for maintaining focus and creativity.
So true. Let me just finish this one email, and I'll meet you in the break room in about 5 minutes.
Perfect. I'll grab us a table by the window. In the break room.
This is nice. I don't think I've actually sat in here all week.
I know, we get so caught up in our work that we forget to take proper breaks.
So, aside from work, how are things going? Are you still training for that marathon?
I am. It's been challenging balancing training with work commitments, but I'm making progress. I've been running 4 days a week, gradually increasing my distance. The marathon is in about 2 months, so things are getting serious now.
That's impressive dedication. I admire people who can stick to rigorous training schedules. How far are your long runs now?
Last weekend, I did 18 miles. It was tough, but I felt good afterward. The mental aspect is just as challenging as the physical part. You really have to push through moments when your body wants to quit.
I can imagine. I'm much more of a casual exerciser. I do yoga a few times a week and occasionally go for short runs, but nothing as intense as marathon training. Do you run alone or with a group?
I usually run alone during the week because it's easier to fit into my schedule, but I've joined a running group that meets on Saturday mornings. Running with others is motivating, and it helps the miles go by faster when you have people to chat with.
That sounds like a good balance. Having a community of people with similar goals must be encouraging. Do you have a target time for the marathon?
I'm aiming to finish in under 4 hours. It's an ambitious goal for my first marathon, but my training time suggests it's achievable if everything goes well on race day.
I'll be rooting for you. You'll have to let everyone know when it is so we can send you good luck messages.
That's very kind, thank you. What about you? How's your ceramics class going? You mentioned you'd started taking lessons a few months ago.
Oh, it's going wonderfully. I've been really enjoying it. There's something meditative about working with clay. It requires complete focus, so all my work stress just melts away for those couple of hours.
That sounds therapeutic. Have you made anything you're particularly proud of?
I made a set of coffee mugs that turned out quite well. They're a bit uneven and imperfect, which I actually love because it gives them character. I've been using them every morning, and it makes my coffee taste better somehow, knowing I made the mugs myself.
That's wonderful. There's something special about using items you've created with your own hands. Are you planning to continue with the classes?
Definitely. I've already signed up for the intermediate level course that starts next month. I want to learn how to use the pottery wheel next. So far, I've only done hand building techniques.
The pottery wheel looks fun but complicated. I've seen videos of people making bowls and vases on the wheel, and it seems like it requires a lot of skill and practice.
I'm sure I'll be terrible at first, but that's part of the learning process. I've learned not to be too hard on myself when trying new things. The enjoyment is in the journey, not just the final product.
That's a healthy perspective. We're often so focused on results in our work life that it's refreshing to do activities purely for enjoyment and personal growth.
Exactly. We all need hobbies that have nothing to do with productivity or career advancement. They keep us balanced and remind us that life is more than just work.
Well said. Speaking of which, we should probably head back soon. I have a call scheduled for 1:30.
And I need to finish reviewing those budget reports before the 3 o'clock meeting. Thanks for having lunch with me, David. These little breaks make the workday much more pleasant.
Agreed. Let's make a point to do this more regularly instead of eating at our desks all the time.
Deal. Same time tomorrow?
Sounds just like a date.
Well, a lunch date, in the most platonic, collegial sense of the word.
Obviously.
See you back at the office.
Hey Sarah, just wanted to give you a quick update. The 3 o'clock meeting about the Riverside project deadline went really well.
Oh, good. I was hoping to hear how it turned out. What did the team say?
Everyone was surprisingly positive about the challenge. Jennifer offered to take on the documentation tasks like we discussed, and Marcus suggested we could streamline our review process by having concurrent reviews instead of sequential ones.
Concurrent reviews. How would that work?
Instead of one person reviewing everything, then passing it to the next reviewer, multiple people would review different sections simultaneously. It would cut our review time significantly while still maintaining quality control.
That's actually brilliant. I'm surprised we haven't thought of that approach before. It could be useful for future projects too, not just when we're under time pressure.
That's exactly what I thought. Sometimes constraints force us to innovate in ways that improve our processes long term. We might discover more efficient methods through this experience.
So is the team confident we can meet the earlier deadline?
Cautiously optimistic. Everyone agreed it would be tight but doable if we stay focused and coordinate well. I'm going to create a detailed day-by-day schedule to make sure we're on track.
Good idea. Frequent check-ins will be important too. Maybe a brief daily stand-up meeting just for this project to identify and address any roadblocks immediately?
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. Just 15 minutes each morning to sync up. It might seem like extra time taken away from actual work, but it will save time by catching problems early.
Absolutely. Clear communication prevents so many issues. Did you present the partial delivery backup plan to the client?
I mentioned it as an option, but I framed it as our insurance policy rather than the expected outcome. I wanted them to know we were thinking ahead about contingencies, but I also wanted to convey confidence that we plan to meet their deadline.
Smart approach. It shows professionalism and proactive thinking without undermining confidence. How did the client respond?
They seemed appreciative that we were being transparent about the challenges while also committing to find solutions. I think it actually strengthened their trust in us because we were honest rather than just saying yes without addressing the complexities.
Honesty really is the best policy in client relationships. They'd rather know upfront if there are concerns than be surprised later with delays or problems.
Exactly. Oh, and one more thing. I told the team that if we successfully pull this off, I'm buying everyone lunch to celebrate. A little motivation never hurts.
That's a nice gesture. Team morale matters, especially during crunch times. People work harder when they feel appreciated and when there's a sense of camaraderie.
My thoughts exactly. Now I just need to make sure I personally stay organized and don't become a bottleneck for anyone else. Want to help me map out my priorities for the next 2 weeks?
Sure, let's look at your task list and figure out what's critical path and what can be delegated or postponed.
Sarah, before you leave for the day, can we quickly review tomorrow's agenda?
Of course. Let me pull up my calendar. So we have our presentation practice session at 2 o'clock, correct?
Right. I've already booked conference room A for an hour and a half. That should give us plenty of time to run through everything, discuss any adjustments, and practice a second time if needed.
Perfect. Should we invite anyone else to observe and give feedback or keep it just between us?
I was thinking just us for tomorrow. We can polish it and feel confident, then maybe do one final run-through with Michael on Tuesday morning since he has good insights into what this particular client values.
Good thinking. Michael knows their preferences and pain points better than anyone. His perspective will be valuable. I'll send him a meeting invitation for Tuesday morning.
Great. Other than that practice session, what else is on your plate tomorrow?
I need to finalize those budget revisions we discussed this morning and send them to finance for review. I also have a conference call with the vendor about the equipment delivery schedule.
The equipment for which project?
The Harrison account. We need to confirm delivery dates to make sure they align with our installation timeline.
Ah, yes, that's important. Any concerns about timing there?
Not at the moment, but I want to confirm everything is on track. Better to verify now than discover problems later when it's too late to adjust.
Absolutely. Proactive management prevents crises. What time is your call?
10:30 tomorrow morning. It should only take about 30 minutes.
Okay, and I'll be working on the quarterly report most of the day. I want to get a solid draft completed by end of day Wednesday since the deadline moved up.
Do you need any assistance with that? I know it's a lot of work.
I should be okay, but thank you for offering. Most of the data is already compiled. It's mainly a matter of analysis and writing the narrative sections now.
Well, if you find yourself getting overwhelmed, just let me know. I'm happy to help review sections or take on some of the formatting work.
I appreciate that. Teamwork makes everything more manageable. Oh, I almost forgot. Did you submit your expense report for last month's business trip?
Yes, I finally got that done last Friday. It had been sitting on my to-do list for 2 weeks. I hate administrative tasks, but I made myself sit down and complete it.
I'm the same way. Expense reports are necessary but tedious. At least it's done now and you'll get reimbursed.
Exactly. Is there anything else we need to coordinate before tomorrow?
I don't think so. We're in good shape. Have you made progress on your personal project today?
Which one? I have several things going on.
The research for your potential presentation at the industry conference? You mentioned wanting to submit a proposal?
Oh yes, I've been thinking about it, but haven't started drafting the actual proposal yet. The submission deadline is still a few weeks away, so I have some time, but I shouldn't procrastinate too long.
If you want to brainstorm ideas, I'm happy to be a sounding board. Sometimes talking through concepts helps clarify your thinking.
That would actually be really helpful. Maybe we could grab coffee one morning this week and I could run my ideas by you.
Sure. How about Thursday morning before the office gets too busy? Say 8 o'clock at the coffee shop across the street?
Perfect. I'll buy the coffee since you're doing me a favor by listening to my half-formed ideas.
Deal. I'm always happy to support colleagues' professional development. Presenting at conferences is great for your career and for our company's reputation.
Thanks, Sarah. I really appreciate all your support and collaboration. Working with you makes my job significantly easier and more enjoyable.
The feeling is mutual. We make a good team. Now, you should head home before it gets too late. Don't you have that early run scheduled for tomorrow morning?
I do. I need to get 6 miles in before work. which means I should probably leave now so I can get to bed at a reasonable hour.
Go, go. Don't let me keep you. Get some rest, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Thanks, Sarah. Have a great evening.
You too, David. Safe drive home. So, David, I wanted to follow up on her coffee conversation last week about the conference presentation. Have you had time to work on your proposal?
I have actually. I spent most of the weekend outlining my ideas and doing some preliminary research. I'm feeling much more confident about the direction now.
That's excellent. What angle did you decide to pursue?
I'm focusing on innovative project management techniques for distributed teams. With so many companies moving toward remote and hybrid work models, I think it's a timely and relevant topic.
That's definitely relevant. You have firsthand experience managing projects with team members in different locations, which gives you credibility. What specific techniques are you planning to discuss?
I want to cover asynchronous communication strategies, tools for maintaining team cohesion across time zones, and methods for ensuring accountability without micromanaging. Those have been our biggest challenges over the past couple of years.
Those are all pain points that many organizations are dealing with right now. Your presentation could provide real value to attendees. How are you structuring it?
I'm thinking about starting with the common challenges, then presenting practical solutions we've implemented, complete with specific examples and results. I want to make it actionable rather than just theoretical.
Practical, actionable content is what makes conferences worthwhile. People want strategies they can actually implement, not just abstract concepts. Are you including any data or metrics to demonstrate effectiveness?
Yes, I'm gathering data on our team's productivity, communication patterns, and project completion rates before and after implementing these techniques. Numbers help make the case more compelling.
Absolutely. Data-driven presentations are more persuasive. Have you thought about the presentation format? Will it be primarily slides, or are you incorporating interactive elements?
I'd like to include some interactive components if possible, maybe polling questions or small group discussions. Conference presentations can get boring if they're just someone talking at you for 45 minutes.
I agree completely. Audience engagement makes presentations much more memorable and effective. You might also consider including a Q&A session at the end. People often have specific questions about applying techniques to their unique situations.
That's a great idea. All budget time for questions. Actually, would you be willing to review my proposal before I submit it? I value your feedback, and you have a good eye for clarity and persuasiveness.
I'd be honored to review it. When is the submission deadline?
2 weeks from today, I'm aiming to have a complete draft ready by the end of this week, which gives me some buffer time for revisions based on feedback.
That's good time management. Send me the draft whenever you're ready, and I'll review it thoroughly and get feedback to you within a day or two.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Your support means a lot. Oh, and speaking of professional development, how did your webinar on digital marketing trends go last week?
It went really well. There were about 200 participants, and the engagement was high. People asked great questions, and I got positive feedback afterward.
That's wonderful. Are you planning to do more webinars or other speaking opportunities?
I'd like to. It's good for professional visibility, and I enjoy sharing knowledge. The company is also happy about it because it raises our profile in the industry.
It's a win-win situation. Have you thought about turning your webinar content into a blog post or article? That would extend the reach even further.
That's an excellent suggestion. I have all my notes and slides, so adapting them into written format shouldn't be too difficult. I could publish it on LinkedIn and on our company blog.
Exactly. One piece of content can be repurposed in multiple formats to maximize impact. You could even break it into a series of shorter articles if the content is substantial enough.
I love that idea. It's much more efficient to create content once and adapt it for different platforms than to constantly create from scratch.
Precisely. We should both think about building our professional brands more strategically. It helps our careers and benefits the company simultaneously.
You're absolutely right. Maybe we should schedule regular check-ins to discuss our professional development goals and hold each other accountable.
I'd really like that. How about once a month, we could have a lunch meeting specifically dedicated to career development discussions?
Perfect. Let's put it on the calendar. The first Wednesday of each month work for you?
Works great. I'll send us both a recurring meeting invitation.
This way, we're building in dedicated time for growth instead of always saying we'll do it when things slow down.
Because things never really slow down, do they?
Exactly. You have to intentionally make time for professional development or it never happens.
David, before we wrap up this episode, let's reflect on what we've covered today for our listeners.
Great idea. We've had conversations that span an entire workday at the office, from morning greetings